future is already pretty strange in the way that making out with your mom is pretty strange.
You're so...
But the strangeness becomes much more pronounced if Marty is a girl. And that's without digging into the young woman sneaking out late at night to conduct experiments with an old man. So let's blast Martha's sweet ass to the past and see how that makes us feel. Because I'm curious if it remains a beloved family movie classic that's also the go-to film for both screenwriting classes and useless substitute teachers looking to kill a couple hours. Regardless, you're watching Gender Swap. I'm Allie, and this is Back to the Future. We'll workshop it. Okay, so bad things off the bat. We meet Martha's mom as she sits in a tree with binoculars hoping to spot Martha's dad's dick through the window. That's problematic no matter the gender, but also pointless, right? Like, what are the chances that she's really gonna spot anything worth ogling from that distance? If you're asking me, I'd say unobserved Schrodinger's dicks are rarely impressive creatures. Martha gets hit by a car after pushing her peeping Jane mother out of the way and awakens in her underwear with her young daddy staring lustfully at her. The first thing her dad reveals is that he inspected her underwear very closely.
I've never seen purple underwear before.
To the point that he assumes her name must be Victoria's Secret, and he also requests to sit inches from her nearly nude body and possibly spend the night with her. In media criticism, we call the recurring trope of a man falling in love with his lovely, attentive nurse the Florence Nightingale effect. So what does that make this? Maybe the, Florida man at night effect. But wait, let's back up for a second. Did Martha's grandpa just run her over with a car so hard she blacked out? Did Gramps ever consider taking this legal child to the hospital before dragging her lifeless body into his home, removing her clothes, and stuffing her into his underage son's bed? Maybe when you run a boy over with a car, it's like, just rub some dirt on it, kid, but surely hitting a woman with a car would be taken somewhat seriously, right? Like, what if her lady parts got all jumbled around inside? But here's what's really weird.
Another one of these damn kids jumped in front of my car!
This isn't Martha's grandpa's first rodeo. Either Martha's dad is extremely popular with local pervert women, or Martha's grandpa is just unusually bad at not running women over. Or both. Either way, feels like he should consider changing something about the situation. But okay, sure. Grandpa does drag Martha inside to ostensibly keep an eye on her and her injuries, or rather, he strips her naked and lets his son watch her, but that's really only like a nice thing for, what, 20 minutes? Tops? Martha's mom reveals that Martha has been unconscious for a whopping 9 hours. You're telling me that a girl you hit with a car was asleep for more than an entire workday and you never once considered taking her to see a doctor? Martha's dad says Martha should spend the night since they
Almost killed him with the car.
And Martha's grandma is basically like, oh yeah, sure, I guess you can spend the night, what with us almost killing you and giving you near certain brain damage. Here, sleep with my son as penance for our sins. Hell, does Martha's dad not worry that Martha has some sort of brain damage? Or is that what actually gives him the confidence to fondle her under the table? That's bad, right? When Martha hops up to leave, because again, her dad is trying to
Squeeze her puss.
her grandma just says she's a strange girl, and Grandpa takes it a step further and calls her
An idiot.
after Martha spouts a bunch of nonsense about watching TV shows that haven't aired yet, and mentioning politicians that nobody knows. Both are interesting names to call somebody whose brain is potentially misfiring thanks to getting slammed on the pavement by a moving vehicle. But okay. Martha survives the near murder, and now all she's got to do is constantly rebuff her father's increasingly forward advances while foisting him off onto her awkward mom, who's really into sci-fi books. This eventually culminates in a plan whereby Martha's like, okay, my dad wants to have sex with me so bad, we should just use that to our advantage. I'll scheme a scenario where I'm about to hook up with my dad, but I'm so aggressive and borderline abusive, my mom will have to drag me out of the car to save my dad's innocence. Even just explaining this though, how the hell does that even work? Putting aside the fact that realistically, most women who agree to sex with a man usually require him to correctly answer some variations of her riddles 3 so she can be reasonably confident he won't make it so she's never found again. What does being so forward that it's a turnoff look like in this scenario? Is Martha going to have to suggest some crazy wizard roleplay where she smacks her wand into this dude's genitals until he cries uncle? The only examples of women being too sexually aggressive for a man that we get in pop culture are usually played for laughs, like in Horrible Bosses with Jennifer Aniston and Charlie Day.
I'm gonna f your wife, Dale.
No. No, you're not.
So, is this now a comedic scene?
I'm gonna take it out of your ass.
Of course, we wouldn't actually get a chance to see how Martha's plan would go, because Martha's dad actually gets sexually harassed by a different aggressive woman named, I don't know, Quiff, who locks Martha in the trunk of a car because, again, this version of Hill Valley is home to the horniest, craziest women of the 1950s, which gives me a great idea for a calendar. This reminds me, have you ever noticed that almost all movie love triangles are between two men and one woman? There are very few examples of a man choosing between two mostly equal women. Like, if a man is choosing, it's between his harpy, evil girlfriend who is objectively hot, but also eats live iguanas and stabs children, and the exciting, manic pixie dream girl who is known for years but never really noticed, you know? Society seems to suggest that men are always the pursuers. Even in this scenario with two women fighting over a dude, the male character still ends up pursuing that manic pixie dream girl. In a traditional rom-com, the female lead merely succumbs to the pursuits of one of the two men. But in this hypothetical movie, we've got multiple women fighting over a man who makes no real effort to pursue them, and it feels off-putting and shitty rather than romantic, right? Yes, I know I made it up, but it's still worth thinking about, I think. Of course, now that I've said it all out loud, this is kind of a movie I'd want to see. I mean, it's borderline become a coked-out Kill Bill-esque sexual power play revenge fantasy. An injured woman, taken advantage of by a creepy man, concocts a plan to use her sexuality to manipulate him and drive him into the arms of a woman who literally stalks men for her voyeuristic pleasure. I mean, wow. Somebody call Tarantino. Karantino.
Well, I just reject your hypotheses.
Oh, and about that, is it still a classic question? Hell yeah, it is! Everybody should watch Back to the Future. But you might also want to have a little pep talk with your kids after to explain that the people of this city are batshit insane. This is not how real people act, so please don't be like these people. Great female name! McFly! You hot bitch! You sure are lucky you got away from me again, because I was gonna beat your ass. I don't know why I keep crashing my car in a manure. There's either a lot of manure in this town or I'm crashing it because I'm not good at driving, because I'm a woman. God, my dad wants to fuck me so bad. What can a woman say to get a guy to stop him from wanting to fuck you? I love you. We should get married now. You should meet my parents. We should go on a vacation together to Amish country where there are no cell phones. Totally hypothetical. If you found out that somebody that you knew was, for example, your daughter, would you kiss them? No, I love sexy role play. Okay, in this one, we've been married for 25 years and we're both trying to pick out a couch at IKEA. IKEA, it's a Swedish furniture store. All right, you might not be ready for that, but your kids are gonna love it. Oh, you like that one, Papa? Sorry, you wanted me to say daddy? No, I don't call you daddy. I call you Papa, because you're my dad. There has to be something else. Come on, what else doesn't Seinfeld like about his girlfriends?